Guys, welcome back to Delicate Moments Custom Dresses. I'm Steph. In today's video, we're going to be making this beautiful princess style dress. On the back, we've got the most adorable fairytale bow. We've got some little cute puff sleeves and an oversized collar. Make sure you're watching all the way through so you can see some tips and tricks on how to get the dress looking this good. Let's get started.
Do you believe in magic? Delicate moments that last forever.
So, we're going to be using this cotton here. I've had this cotton custom printed. When I was cutting out this pattern, I was very careful where I cut the pattern pieces. So, if you look on the sleeve, got a lady right in the middle of the sleeve. If you look on the bodice made, I've made sure we've got one centred. So, let's get started. So, we're going to be starting on the collar. So, I'm just going to place the right sides together, the lining and the main. So, I'm going to sew nice and slowly around the curve.
Soft light falling through the room. Colors move the way she moves. Every step, something new. Like she's stepping into something she already knew.
So we've now got both collars. I've gone for an oversized Peter Pan collar. I just think it'll go a lot nicer with the dress because it's got a big bow on the back. So now we're going to move on to making the bow. So we've got our bow pieces here. We're just going to place them right sides together, very similar to the collar, and sew them.
She walks in like she knows. Like she's wearing princess clothes. Every step, every turn. Got the whole world watching close. She moves like she's free. Like she's everything she sees. In the moment it all shows. She walks in like she knows.
So I'm just going to fold this in half lengthways, and then again I'm going to draw a 2-inch line down the centre of the fold. And then what I'm going to do is sew down that line, and that's just going to give me a pleat in the sash. So as you can see, we've got the pleat there. So now we have both of our bow pieces. We're going to be moving on to constructing the body. So we're going to start with our lining, and we're going to place right sides together, then in place, and then sew them. And then we're going to do the same with our main fabric.
Like she knows. Round again, let it move, no hesitation.
We're now going to be working on the bodice main, and we need to attach our collar. So I'm just going to put a line on the centre, and the 3 points we're going to be using are the centre seam, the side seams, and I'm going to make a mark at the back of the pattern. So I need to make a mark 1.25 inches. So now we've got 3 points to guide us. We've got the back point, the centre point, and the side seam points. We're going to get one of the pattern pieces and face it right sides up. And I'm just going to mark. I've cut it out, but you can't see it very clearly, so I'm just going to mark this notch here. So we've got the back notch, the middle notch, and the front notch. So the middle notch wants to match up with the side seam. Bring this round and ease this into place to match up with the middle seam. Then I'm just going to go around and pin this in place. Before moving on to this side, I'm just going to base this in place so then it's not moving around. So I'll do that with the sewing machine. I'm going to repeat that process with the other collar. So now we've got the collar piece on. We need to now add the sash. So to figure out where the sash is going to go on the bodice, I just need to measure up 3/4 of an inch, mark that on both sides. We'll get our sash pieces. Just going to place them right sides down and clip them in place. Then I will baste them in place with the sewing machine. Okay, now they're in place. We need to attach our lining. Place my lining right sides together. I'm going to match it up at the side seams, and then I'm going to draw it all the way around the neckline and down the back. As you can see, when I was talking about pattern placement earlier, when I was cutting my pieces out, you can see how much of an impact it has cutting the patterns in the right places. We've got a person in the centre, we've got a person here, and it just flows really nicely through the fabric. So the next step is we need to make some armholes. To make our armholes, what we're going to do is we're just going to join the back bodice and front bodice, the main and the lining. Then you can see the bodice is really coming together. Then we need to move on to the sleeve. Just gonna baste the lining and the main together. That'll just make it a little bit easier attaching the sleeve. So we're now moving on to the sleeve, and we're going to be doing a sleeve band. The sleeves are one of the trickier things on this dress, but it's really worth it because once you've made the sleeves and you've got the sleeves attached to the bodice, you can really start seeing the dress come together. So I'm going to start on the sleeve bands. I'm just going to take these to the ironing board and fold them in the right places. So I've folded them into 4 sections. I'm just going to unfold them, place them right sides together, and then I'm going to sew these raw edges together to make a little band. I'm just going to press these seams open, and I'm going to try and avoid pressing out these memory creases, and I'm just going to place a pin at the opposite centre, and then we'll set these to one side. Now we're going to be working on our main sleeve pieces, and I'm just going to mark out our notches, and this is just going to be our guide to sew our gathering stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the gathering stitches in the sleeve. Now we've got our gathering stitches in, we're going to flip the sleeve right sides together and sew that in place. Now we've finished them seams, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the sleeve right side out, and I'm just going to sew another gathering stitch across the bottom of the sleeve. I'm actually going to sew it from the right side, the inside out, because then it'll be easier to gather the bottom bobbin thread. I'm going to pull out our sleeve band. I've refolded the memory creases. I'm going to pin it in place, and then I can sew it. Okay, so now we've got the sleeve band attached. What we need to do is gather the sleeves and then attach the sleeve to the body. So we're going to use the overlocker to finish these seams. Not gonna lie, this is the scariest part for me because you put so much effort into building the body and it's so easy just to sew it over and making a hole in your main fabric. But it is the most professional finish, so it is worth it, but I've had it go wrong for me and it is quite upsetting. Okay, thankfully, I'm very relieved nothing went wrong. So, before we get started on the skirt, we just need to do our buttonholes. So, I want one of them to sit at least an inch from the bottom, and then I want the top one to at least sit 1/4 of an inch. So, I've just got my button gauge, where my middle button's going to go. Now we need to pick the buttons. I think I might wrap white and purple. I don't know, I even like the blue. Oh no, purple, definitely, I don't know. Oh, that looks pretty. Let's see what the purple ones look like. Oh, I think they both look nice. Oh no, what we're going to go for now? I think I might actually be swaying more towards the blue. I'm going to go for the blue. That's all 3 buttonholes done. Okay, so now we're moving on to the skirt. We need to make the placket for the skirt. I'm just going to draw a 3-inch line down the centre, then a 1/4 inch line diagonally off there. I'm going to cut that down. And now we've got like a little W for our placket. Just going to place our placket against that line. And now I'm just going to sew that in place. We've now sewn our placket, so we're going to put the skirt right sides together, like that in place, and then sew it. So now that I've overlocked rim seams, I'm just going to take it to the ironing board and hem the bottom of the skirt.
Started slow, but I can feel the pace. Every move finding its place. Little changes.
Now we've hemmed the skirt, what we're going to do is sew our gathering stitches. So I'm going to start at one side of the placket and go around to the other.
Taking shape all the time. Starting to pay. I can feel it in the flow. It's all coming together now. Every piece is working out. Every line is falling right, like it's always been inside. It's all coming together now. No more doubt, I see it now. Oh, every moment, every hour, turning into something ours. Didn't see it at the start, now it's clear inside my heart. Every seam, every thread leads me where I'm meant to
So
head.
now that our gathering stitches are sewn, I'm just going to gather the skirt to the same width as the body.
It's all coming.
So now we have our skirt. Now we need to attach that to the body. So we've got our body and our skirt. We're going to place the body inside the skirt. Then I'm just going to match up the side seams and the back. And then we're going to pin all the way around. So now I'm just going to sew the skirt onto the body.
Something ours. They just move. Every emotion feels so smooth. No more second guessing.
Now I need to add the buttons.
Everything is crystal clear. Don't slow down, keep it going. Feel
So now we have all 3 buttons attached. I'm going to give the dress the final press and then I'll come back to you and show you how it's finished. So the dress is now done and I think it's turned out exactly how I imagined in my head, which is classic, beautiful, not too much going on at the front, but at the back, and absolutely gorgeous for. I love bows, and I just think they make any little dress so girly, and that's what I enjoyed the most about making dresses, just making them so girly. So I think overall it's turned out absolutely amazing. We had no problems when we were sewing it, but this is one of my favourite dresses to sew. So I've done this dress a lot in different styles, but I always end up coming back to this one because I think it's just absolutely stunning, especially for young little girls. So at the beginning of the video, you remember me telling you about pattern placement? If you have a look at the shoulders, which I will show you some glamour shots of, we've got the perfect person in the middle, and also on the top, that's turned out really nice too. I just think it's stunning. And I wasn't sure if I was going to go for purple or blue buttons, but now I'm really glad I've gone for blue buttons. It just complements the dress so well. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe in because there's going to be lots more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to show you some glamour shots. Bye for now.
Sewing dresses for angels, I know they'll never grow old. Craft